Hello, everyone. We are back again. This week we're doing AJ Epinesa. That's what the poll said, so that's what we're going to do. A little surprising, to be honest. I thought Spencer Brown was going to win that poll, and we both kind of thought that. Were you surprised to see Epinesa kind of take he took a big lead early in that poll, really?
Yeah, you DM'd me like immediately. You were like, wow, out to an early lead, AJ Epinesa. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like halfway through my cut up for Spencer Brown. And I was like, okay, a little quick 180 there and going into the AJ Epinesa tape. I'm honestly I like it. I think I alluded to it last week. I was like, be cool after two defensive ends, the rookies. It would be cool to, lump in a third one and do AJ Epinesa. We're kind of in the groove with defensive ends. So it's nice to do that and not have to like skip a beat there. And then we can jump in. I don't know. I kind of think Spencer Brown might not be voted.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are kind of waiting for us. They would prefer if we just kind of like jump to DeMar Hamlin or Marquez Stevenson. They're just like not going to vote for Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle because they don't really care for offensive line play. But hey, if you want to see Marquez Stevenson or DeMar Hamlin or Rashad Wildgoose, you got to vote for Spencer Brown and then Tommy Doyle first, and then we'll get to those rookies in the later rounds. It's just how we're building the polls.
Yeah, and I think it is kind of cool that we're able to go three defensive ends in a row and three young defensive ends in a row, because we're able to kind of compare each one of those guys to each other at this point and see where they're at in their development, and then kind of go from there as to what we might be able to expect from them during the season.
Right.
So what were your initial thoughts when you were going through?
Well, initial thoughts. To preface this, we both picked late regular season games. I picked the Chargers game from week 12. Clay picked the Dolphins smackdown in week 17. So we got, I guess, AJ Epinesa when he was back into more of the weight territory that we wanted him in, and not that like overly light shedded weight AJ Epinesa version. So we got to see him kind of a little bit more refined in what he is in that athletic profile that he's trying to get towards. So it's kind of tough. It's a mixed bag, honestly, the AJ Epinesa tape. It's definitely a mixed bag because there are some plays where you'd like to see more from him. There's plays where you'd like to see more speed. There's plays where you'd like to see more power. There's plays where you'd like to see more intelligence in terms of play processing and play recognition, but there's positives and negatives all over the place when it comes to those categories I just talked about. Like he's very all over the place when it came to just the two games that we broke down. But I really think the sky's the limit for him because, the way the coaching staff and his teammates and certain people in the Bills organization and how they're talking about him, I think he's primed for a breakout season, and obviously it's all going to be up to him. But hey, if they're talking about him in this light where he's really putting in this work, like serious work over the off season, he wants it, and he wants it bad. He probably wants to silence those haters and those doubters from allowing him to slide as far as he did into the second round in 2020. So it's a big season for him.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it'll be interesting to see how that whole kind of buying into the system and really believing in what they're doing there in Buffalo with the coaching staff. When the players buy into that, what comes of that? Because we know Josh Allen bought in and he turned out very well as a raw prospect. So what's going to happen when some of these other young guys really start to buy in and then they can, where can they take their game from there when they're trusting their coaches and, they're getting outside personal training, probably at the advice of some of their coaches. I just think that's something that's going to be interesting to see and cool to watch because I don't think we've ever really seen a team, a Bills team like this where a rookie comes in and he's young and raw and you just hear about all these great things about how he's developing and how he's kind of buying into that system. So that was something that I think has been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting, swing of events in terms of this offseason versus last offseason. We see Lone Wolf coming in saying a rookie with the most abnormal offseason ever should be all over the place. He'll be better this season. So that's definitely true. You know, it was weird for a lot of rookies last year. You could probably attribute that to Zach Moss's slow start last year. All the rookies last year. Obviously, Gabe Davis was the outlier of that rookie group. Really.
Even he had a bit of a slow start.
Bit.
It wasn't really until John Brown got hurt and they had to use him a little bit more that they could figure out what he could do and how they could use him as well.
Right. But specifically for AJ Epenesa, I think the interesting thing is going to be, how he grows off of a weird season, especially because of that whole weight fluctuation thing. And we've heard from coaches that he's finally in that range that they really wanted him in, and it's in a healthy range. It's not like he just added on, baby fat or anything like that. Like he got real good muscle tone and he has a good athletic profile about him. But what I would like to do before we jump into the film, I want you to let the people know what our plan is for this show in terms of pros and cons.
Yeah, so we're doing it a little bit differently this time because we want to make sure that we're getting both sides of the argument. And Kendall and I are just way too nice. So what we're gonna try to do is I'm gonna take the point of I'm against AJ Epenesa, and I'm going to be really hard on him I was very hard on him when I was looking at the film. And I'm just going to try to be as tough as I can on him and really look for any flaw and try to attack it. And Kendall's going to be on the other side of that. And he's going to look at the positive things and he's going to try to advocate for Epenesa. And then, it's kind of up to you to decide based on what our arguments are, whether you think that how good you think he is and how big of an impact you think he can make. And that way, we kind of try to get as much of both sides of the argument as we can, and then you guys can decide from there. So I'm pretty excited about it, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I definitely pulled a bunch of good plays from the Chargers game, and you definitely pulled a couple bad plays more than the good plays in that Dolphins game, which was probably hard to do, honestly, in that Dolphins game. But you watched it. I don't know. Was it hard to pull more bad plays than good in that Dolphins game?
Definitely at times. And it's like, obviously I'm looking for him doing bad things. And then every once in a while, there's still a play where it's like, that was a really good play. I have to put that in. I have to talk about it. But there were definitely some plays, and he had a lot of reps too, that from that game. That was the game where he had the most amount of reps.
Bobby, whenever you want, buddy, if you want us to toss you in as the third person, make you the permanent devil's advocate, you're welcome, man.
But yeah, there were definitely some plays where I was like, this could have been a lot better. But for the most part, it was a lot of, it wasn't a great play, but it wasn't a bad play. And that's what I feel like it was a pretty common theme going through that game, which isn't terrible when you're a rookie and you didn't have a preseason. So, do you want to start off with your game then, since yours was earlier in the season here?
Yeah, let's just go in chronological order.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so this game, I'll preface it in this way. It was kind of interesting how the Chargers were deciding to, I guess, defend against the Bills' pass rush. The way they were doing it was very weird. They were electing to keep one guy on the edge unblocked a lot of the time, and a lot of that time it was AJ Epenesa who was unblocked, but he was making the best of those opportunities, and he was jumping in there and making the play. So here on play one, he's unblocked, but he could just pin his ears back and go straight for Justin Herbert. Instead, he sees that under route coming, almost like a split zone block from Hunter Henry, and it turns into a screen on the other side of the formation. Epenesa picks it up early, and he identifies it and takes away the screen. And you see Herbert kind of just have to throw it into the ground. So really early on in this game, I was thrilled to see him play with intelligence and not just kind of, be too eager to make a play. He made a play because he was smart, and he sat back there and analyzed what was happening in front of him. You could see a lot of rookies get really antsy and anxious, and they're just like, oh, free lane to the quarterback, pin my ears back, let's go grab him. But no, he was really patient with it. And I think that comes with obviously 11 weeks of practice with the team prior to this game. So obviously it goes both ways, but really great to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's really good play recognition. And do you remember how early in the game this was? This clip?
I think it was mid first quarter. It took a little for his group, him and Daryl Johnson, to get on the field.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just wondering. The reason I'm asking is because I don't know if this was a play that they were keying on, where we see that they would sneak Hunter Henry underneath, and when if he's unblocked and he sees Hunter Henry, it might be coming to him. So I don't know if that's something that they keyed on. Even if they did, it's still a great play to be able to recognize that quickly and be able to go and cover him. It's hard for me to find anything bad to say about this play because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He forced an incompletion, and made a good play. So yeah, not much to say for me.
I would guess that play is probably based on what I saw earlier in this game. I would guess that's more just in that moment eye discipline, and then prior to that moment, just film work, knowing how the Chargers are going to attack them. I didn't see a lot of that. Like, I mean, I'm sure they were keying in on Hunter Henry. Like he's a big weapon, and they used him a lot in this game. So yeah, I didn't see anything specifically in terms of them trying to weed out this play.
Right.
So we'll move on to play number 2. My first thought on this was good first step. Another example of him being unblocked on the edge, but he doesn't really hesitate at the mesh point, and it's funny coming off of what happened with the Carlos Basham, with the Carlos Basham tape, and how much he had to hesitate at the mesh point because it seemed like he had the quarterback and the running back on most read options or RPOs. And on this one, you can see AJ Klein, the two AJs, AJ Klein right behind AJ Epenesa. He's there ready to take up Herbert if Herbert keeps it on this play. So you see Epenesa be very decisive on this play, and he goes for the legs of Eckler. And I mean, obviously you'd like to see him make a better form tackle, but he makes the play, and because he goes for the legs, he makes him stumble. So great play. I actually don't think that was considered a tackle for loss. I think it was just considered a no gain, but in my book, that's a TFL.
Yeah, and I'm not. Was this an RPO? Let me see if I can take it back to that other view.
The
here.
wide angle.
Yeah. Hard to say. It looks like everyone's blocking. So the play call is interesting to kind of just let him go there. I don't know. Maybe it is a true read option here, and he's able to pull if he wants to. If I saw, AJ Klein kind of fill in that gap, I probably would have given as well. But yeah, interesting play to leave him unblocked. But, he is unblocked. And it's good aggression to get in there. And luckily there's not a trap blocker there to take care of him. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm glad that he got off the line that quick and didn't hesitate to say, wait, no one's blocking me. And he just went and made the tackle. But yeah, this is a play. It's like, yeah, if you're unblocked like that, you better go make that tackle type of a play in my mind.
Right. Yeah. And he did. So not much to pick apart there. I'm probably making your job hard right now.
You are. There's only really small things that I can criticize here.
All right. So play 3. This is just a simple inside stunt move. Actually really liked this stunt because it meant Zimmer was going around on the outside. And I think we all know how athletic Zimmer is. Like, look at him go. So I really liked this play design, but even more so, great play by Herbert, but who gets Herbert off his spot? It's Epenesa. It's Epenesa splitting that double team off the stunt from that left tackle. And who is that he's going against? That's Forrest Lamp, number 76, new Buffalo Bill. But you see him split that double team, and really, like, you can see this is where it starts with Epenesa. Coming out of college, we knew he was kind of a bigger dude. He was a technician. He was good at keeping his body clean, but he was also good at playing with power. And now that he's shed some weight, we see him really leaning into that technical hand use. And this is where it starts. I'll have more plays to show it, but this is where it starts because you see him rip with his left arm under Forrest Lamp's left arm, and it allows him to continue driving into the quarterback and get in that pass rush lane. And yeah, he gets Herbert off his spot, but of course, Herbert makes a great play, slides out to his right, and gets it out to probably Jalen Guyton, I think that was. But yeah, I really like this play to see Epenesa with strength rushing from the inside because we know he lost some weight. So we'd like to see if he can retain that strength.
Yeah, this honestly is a really good play. First of all, it's a great play call. Like you said, getting Justin Zimmer out on the outside. He's a smaller, more athletic guy who can do stuff like that. And you know, both of those guys get through pretty easily here. But kind of the thing, I know I'm supposed to be against him, but I like this about it. He does he does like a little jab step, and he kind of like, it's almost like he's trying to cross up the tackle, and it works and I think that kind of contributes a little bit. The lost weight, he's a little bit quicker, can get inside a little faster. The hands aren't bad. I've noticed a little bit that his hands are active. He has fairly active hands, but he needs to work on placement sometimes, because sometimes he's throwing his hands around. It's like, that is what you should be doing, but you got to get the lineman's arms out of the way, because even still here, you can kind of see 69 gets that arm up, even though Epenesa just tried to swipe those away. It's not that big of a thing. It's so minor, but it's like, maybe if that extra hand didn't get on him, if he was able to keep that hand off, maybe he can get an extra step and get his hand out. I don't think so, because Herbert does make a good play here. And Daryl Johnson kind of took a little bit of a tight route to get to him. Mm-hmm. But it's really not a bad play. I really had to nitpick to find something to criticize here.
Right. So I'll move on to play 4 here, and I think this is going to be where you get to start. I'll let you start after I say my good things, and then I'll respond to what you say. But really, off the bat on play 4 here, it's about setting the edge. He takes away that outside run lane. However, it does create a run lane inside of him, and I think he's fortunate that Zimmer is as athletic as he is, and he closes that run lane quickly. So I'll let you go with this and give your negatives, and then I'll respond to that. But really all I have here is, it's a good job to just set that edge and take away the outside. That's the positive that I can grab from this.
Yeah, that was the biggest positive that I took from this as well. It's, if nothing else, he did force the running back to go back inside, and that's what you need to do. He's got Edmonds there, he's got Klein there. Even if Zimmer didn't make the play, Klein would be unblocked and hopefully you would be able to make the tackle there. So you force your guy back inside, and that's your job. But it was just it was a little chaotic getting there. Where the first step, he loses that step pretty bad. And from there, he's just kind of, on the ropes a little bit, trying to gain anything back. I will say he does get a pretty good long arm here on that one shoulder to try to keep him at bay a little bit and just try to anchor himself a little bit. But really, he did get pushed back. It was a great first step from 69 there. And yeah, what obviously what you'd like to see here is you want him to stack in Ched and be able to make the tackle himself after forcing that running back inside. Yep.
That's exactly where I was. I was just like, I'll obviously play devil's advocate here and take the negative. Yeah, really, all I would have liked to see more from him here is to be able to 2-gap. Not so definitively play on that outside shoulder. Try to stay even with him, like you said, stack, force him back inside, and then shed and make the tackle on the inside. Obviously, that's him making the play, but he did make the play for his teammates here by setting the edge. So it's a bit of a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword here. If he's playing so staunchly to the inside, it forces the run back outside. So it's really hard to nitpick at this play and say that it's his fault, especially on a 3-yard gain or whatever this was. But, I'd like to see him have that strength to be able to 2-gap and hold up that left tackle where he stands and, really shove him whichever way he wants to shove him to make the play. But that's the only way I can nitpick it. Other than that, he set the edge.
Right. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. That's probably what they told him in the film room. It's like, good job setting the edge, but there could have been more.
Exactly. So this goes back to that read option stuff. I don't know, honestly, if all these plays are read options in design, but the way the NFL is, there's a mesh point on just about every handoff now because quarterbacks are athletic enough to keep it. But on this play, you can see, I think it's more of an RPO with that, who is that, 27, Josh Kelly on a swing screen kind of thing. So I think that's where the RPO is built in. And you see Teron Johnson help out AJ Epenesa on this play. So because of play design, Epenesa is allowed to play downhill and Johnson can just take the quarterback. He can just take the quarterback, and Epenesa doesn't have to second guess himself. He can just take the running back, and that's what he does, and creates a tackle for loss. So it kind of goes back to that Boogie Basham thing, where it's like, if you have good scheme, you can play even better and more decisively. And hopefully, if we see, Boogie put in this scheme, obviously he'll probably play better because those around him will be elevating his game. So I love this play just because of the decisiveness, the form tackle, and really, obviously, the production and the output from what happened.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned pretty much everything that I wanted to touch on as far as how I think this was an RPO with the swing pass, and he had to give it because he wasn't expecting that blitz from Taron Johnson there. But yeah, I mean, it's a clear give. You got two guys right in your face, and then Epenesa takes a little bit of a stutter just to make sure Herbert doesn't have the ball, but he still makes a good tackle. Another one where it's hard to nitpick. I mean, he's unblocked and plays downhill. So, it's not it's one of those plays again where it's like, this is a play you should make, but he did make it. So, it's hard to fault him too much for that. But yeah, again, really good play design, great timing on the call, because it destroyed this play, having Taron Johnson come off the edge right there.
Right. And Chris S., I see you coming in here saying 3 of 4 plays unblocked. I don't know what the Chargers were doing, but they clearly weren't scared by our edge rushers. They felt like they could get to the opposite edge and leave the, I guess that's the weak side unblocked. I can't see where the tight end is, but yeah, I guess that weak side unblocked, and they're just not expecting them to be able to pursue fast enough to make the play. I don't understand it scheme-wise, but they left the backside unblocked a lot, and Epenesa ate because of that. So we can't really fault him for making a play when a play should be made. Obviously, you can't put too much water in that glass to say, oh, he made a play here, because he's expected to make a play there when he's unblocked. So I will give you that, Chris S. But hey, he's making the plays. He's making the plays. So that's all you can ask of him, especially when he's in his rookie season, just trying to get his feet under him. Hopefully next year he's doing more than just that.
Yeah, and it's kind of goes back to a good conversation we had with Greg from Cover One, about kind of you have to dance on that line between how good did this guy do given the play calls from either side of the ball,
right?
And he can't control what the offense is calling. He can't control that he's not blocked here. He can't control that Taron Johnson's blitzing off the edge. All he does is he goes in and makes the tackle in the best situation that he can. I will say, I didn't even notice this before. Ed Oliver makes a hell of a play here, and it could have been a lot different if Oliver didn't make this play. Because if there's a lane to run there, I don't know if I don't even know who 35 is. If he can quickly get to that hole fast enough, if Oliver doesn't completely destroy it,
right,
to maybe outrun Epenesa. But I don't know. I feel like he probably had him dead to rights at that point anyway.
No, you're actually right here, because if you go back to the beginning of the play, you can see it looks like play design is going inside of their left tackle's shoulder, but because Oliver's blowing up the backfield, is that Forrest Lamp?
I think it is. I think it is Forrest Lamp. Yeah, you want the other angle? I don't know if that's going to help at all.
No, it's fine. I just want to know if that's no, it's not. Okay, that's the center. Good. Okay. It's not Forrest Lamp. Good for us.
But also, this is one tech at Oliver here making a really good play.
Right. This is one. Exactly. But that's the point. He's getting in that run lane and probably making the play for Epenesa. You're absolutely right. But yeah, hey, he still makes a play. It's a tackle for loss. He's doing what he's meant to be doing.
I mean, as long as we understand that it's like, given this situation, that's kind of my biggest thing for that play.
Right. So we'll move on to play 6 here. We'll try, I think Lone Wolf said, do we have any plays where he's like manned up on a offensive tackle and making a play? I think we'll start to get some of those. And this is one right here where he's not exactly making a play, but you start to see like there's something there. There's something there with this guy, and he could get there if he continues to improve. So I really like this play because it's an example of him rushing around the edge. In college, this was a guy who was just kind of bull rushing people. This was not part of his game that we thought would translate to the NFL. But you see him with a good first step. You see him trying to chop that arm down to use those active hands and keep his body clean so he can rush the passer. Unfortunately, he misses that chop. And man, if he hit that chop, I think he could get around that edge nicely. The thing I really liked about this play, though, was obviously the hand usage, like I said, even with missing that chop. But he also, even missing, he keeps his chest relatively clean, and he still allows himself to corner around that edge. And then you see him, this talking point we had last week with Boogie, he gets his hand up when he's going around that edge because he's trying to get a piece of the football. And that's clearly a coaching point. I think it might have been an excerpt in Bill's Embedded or something like that. You see McDermott talk about, like, yeah, sacks are great, but we want the ball. Like, we want the ball. And this is, you can see Epenesa going for the football right there. So, yeah, he didn't make the play, but there's potential on this play, and that's really why I put it in here.
Yeah, and I'll agree there's potential, but that missed arm was my biggest fault on him for this one. And he was a little late getting there with his arm too. It looks pretty close from this angle. It looks like it's close right there. He's actually that's his upfield hand. It's going that way. And it's further away from the ball than it actually appears. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if he hits that, it's a great rush. But because he kind of swipes through and just misses there, 7-9's able to keep hands on him and push him back where he wants to go. Herbert, good job, stepping up in the pocket, just a tad, staying put where he's supposed to be. But yeah, if that's something he can improve, then he can probably be a very successful speed rusher at times too. But yeah, he's got to hit those. He's got to get at least one arm with that little arm break down there.
Right. Absolutely. That's definitely the big negative, just missing that chop. If he hit that chop, this play could have been drastically different.
Oh yeah, he could have got the ball if he hit it right.
Right. It would have been a much more efficient pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll jump off of play 6, jump to play 7, and it's a different way of winning. In play 7, you see him kind of, obviously we know he lost some weight coming into this season, but you see him still winning with power. Like, look at this long arm. He's pushing the left tackle back into Herbert's lap. Obviously, he doesn't make a play or anything here. Like, this isn't a production play or anything like that. This is just a good one-on-one rep. Let it play to the end zone view, and we can get a better view here. But he's really not gonna make a play on this. This is a quick pass, like 3-step and out. Good timing by Herbert. Like, the play's already made. It's going to be tough for anyone to get to the quarterback in time. But really, I just liked it from a technical standpoint. You see him get that left arm up on the right shoulder of the left tackle and push him straight back. That's just a nice, nasty long arm by AJ Epenesa. So really, yeah, he didn't make a play out of this, but this, once again, feather in the cap of potential. Like, this guy has room to improve. You can see he has a bag of pass rush moves, and he can win in multiple ways. And I think that's why they asked him to shed some weight, because you could see that he has natural power about him. He didn't have to play at 280, 285 or anything like that to have power. There's a way for him to find that perfect balance and optimize his pass rush game. And I think we're going to find it this season because, yeah, this is a nice power move. It really is.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to criticize this one because his hand placement's really good, the long arm's good. But I guess the one thing that I will say is a little more power. If you can get there just a little bit sooner, and I think that goes along with him coming in underneath the weight that they wanted him to get to. He ended up coming in a little bit lighter than they wanted. But I mean, yeah, it's a timing throw. He's probably not going to make a play on that, but I think he does catch that tackle by a little bit by surprise there, throwing up that hand and pushing him back. I don't think he was expecting that. So credit where it's due. This was a pretty good play for what it's worth. You also you got a lot of guys up on the line of scrimmage too. I don't know how much that affects things, and when it's a one-on-one battle, you want him to win those, and he does do a decent job of pushing him back.
For sure. So jumping on to play 8, I think you're going to have a field day on this one. It's just my guess. But I liked his first step here, and I like to see him keep his body clean with good hand usage. If you could let it roll to the end zone view on this, just so I could drive my point home with the hand usage. You can really see him keep his body, like his chest plate, clean. You look at him just swipe away that hand from the left tackle, and he gets right around him. Obviously, the concern here, this isn't a pass play. Like, you can see it's a nice running back draw play, but because it's a draw, it baits Epenesa to go wide, and it takes him out of the play completely. So yeah, I like the hand usage. I like that he can get around that edge, but like the left tackle is kind of like the design is for him to allow Epenesa to get around that edge, and by doing that, it takes him out of the play, and you see Eckler cut it back to that left side. So yeah, here you go. Here's your field day, buddy.
Yeah, this was one where I was actually able to kind of be like, oh, okay, cool. He put in a bad play for me. Oh, I went too far. Yeah, I mean, good hands on the first hit there. But that once he's passed, this is a play that the Bills have too. It's a similar style where I've seen Dawkins do this. I love when Dawkins do it because he like throws the guy to the ground.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, this is something that we see the Bills play. This is a play that he's going to see. It's probably he's probably going to see it on a week-to-week basis, really. And I think he needs to be able to identify the difference in what that tackle is doing when he's planting and kind of pushing him upfield, as opposed to when he's dropping back and trying to pass block. Because you can see, even if you watch the tackle, he's not really taking those. He takes maybe a couple drop steps like he would on a pass rush, but then he just kind of plants and shoves him away. And yeah, I just don't think he recognized that was what was going on. I think he was like, sweet, I got a free pass rush. This guy sucks. I'm going to get a sack. And then, he hands the ball off, and then the tackle even comes back and boxes him out from the play afterwards. So he can't even make a play on it afterward. Good play by 69 here. But yeah, I think that this is more than anything is a recognition thing where he needs to understand when that's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So play number 9, this is kind of a novelty play. I had to toss it in here because it's AJ Epenesa dropping into coverage. You watch this guy in college, and there's no way you thought this was happening at the next level. There's just no way you thought this was happening more than like twice a season. And honestly, I know for a fact, like I've seen this happen more than twice last season. I know just from watching games on the broadcast and obviously going back and watching film. Like they dropped their defensive ends into coverage, but more than just the fact that he did it rather well. Like you can see him carry Hunter Henry up on the stem of that route and obviously let him go because he's got to stay in his zone. But right there in that zone, you see Mike Williams enter on the top left of your screen, and he's in a good area to take away that passing window. I actually think Herbert read the play wrong. I think he should have passed it over Epenesa. Instead of like, that's a tough window. That's a tough window. Obviously, great play by Tre'Davious White, but that's a tough window to get it through. I think he should have accepted the first one, the second crosser, which is Mike Williams on the top left of your screen. Yeah, really the only concern I would have from Epenesa on this play, I'd like to see him get a little bit more depth in that zone. Like to see him drop back just like a yard or two deeper, because I think Herbert did have a chance to drop it over his head and then down under the safeties and get it to Mike Williams. But hey, this is pretty good athleticism from a guy that, didn't display a whole lot of this in college.
Yeah, I mean, he's driving back into cover. He doesn't do a terrible job. He's reading the quarterback's eyes. But he doesn't really. I do think that there was an opportunity for him to make a play. I don't have a problem with him, following the QB's eyes because he's locked on. This is a rookie mistake from Herbert, by the way. Super locked on. Doesn't want to come off. You can kind of see at the very top of the screen that safety is running with Hunter Henry, and when that safety is probably a guy that you want to key on, because who's there to cover Mike Williams behind him? Nobody. So it was a rookie mistake, I think, from Herbert to stay locked on to Henry here. He does look open here, but yeah, I mean, Epenesa doesn't really do that much. I do, appreciate the fact that you put it in there. I figured this is why you did it, to show that he can do it, and he has done it. And we'll see maybe Rousseau do this a little bit. Basham, maybe not as much. I think he's more of a pure pass rush type of a guy. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that you put it in there for that sake. But can we talk about Tre'Davious White on this play real quick?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to make you.
Oh, dude, watching this play was
so good. Yeah, go back to the beginning. You can see Trey identify the crosser. You can see his right arm. He's pointing at Hunter Henry like, guys, look. And then the second he sees him wide open, he's like, oh, okay, this ball's mine.
Yeah, this was so good. I mean,
right away.
Yeah, so he's pointing right now. I think the first point is saying cross. He's letting everyone know that Allen's coming inside. So yeah, now he knows, and he's letting him know, hey, we got a guy coming inside. But then afterward, I think there's times when you study film, and then when you're on the field in the middle of the play, you're like, oh my God, I know this play. And I think that's what happens with Trey here, because as he's dropping back, look at the speed. The speed at which he kind of snapped his head around. I went too far back, but the speed he snaps his head around to look over is so fast, and it's like he knows that place. Like, oh my God, I know this one. And then he goes back and he just reads the ball and makes a really good play. So Tre'Davious White's really good.
Yeah, this was also like a game-saving play, I think. Not game-saving, but I think they were within 10 points. Yeah, it was like 10 minutes left or something in the fourth quarter. So, like, if they scored a touchdown here, it's a very close game. So, great play by Trey.
Yeah, so good. I mean, I had a lot of fun kind of looking to see what was going on with him during this one.
Yeah, it was a good one. All right, so I actually did my job and got it to 10 plays.
I know. I feel bad now.
All right, so this is the last one from this game. It's a really interesting one because I don't know if this was meant to be an inside move, but you see him get chipped by Keenan Allen, and he kind of just accepts it and goes inside of the left tackle. And once again, you see him use that rip move, and it kind of frees him up. And he's right there in Herbert's face. Obviously, this is really late in the game. Like, Bills were playing prevent, so it's really just kind of basic 4-man rush and then keep everything in front of you. So it's going to be easy for Herbert to get the ball out and just accept whatever yards he can get. But, I mean, nice pass rush. Like, he accepted what he got from it, and it's just kind of cool to see him bounce off of that, keep his balance, and then fight through the arm blocks from who is this left tackle, 69? I think, honestly, the way to preface this game, as good as the plays were that I showed you guys from this game, the Chargers needed help on their offensive line last year, and you saw them go out and draft Rashawn Slater this year. Like, that's a big point of emphasis for this year, getting some better protection for Justin Herbert. So a little bit of a grain of salt there. Like, you got to temper it a little bit with how he played in this game, but it's still encouraging to see him play so well in such a weird season for him. Yeah.
It's Lone Wolf. This is exactly what I was going to say. Keenan Allen helps him out because he puts him right into a gap, and it throws the tackle off. He's not prepared for him. He's dropping back as if it's a speed rush. I think that's what it might be.
Yeah.
And then he just gets bumped inside. And it helps Epenesa. Good on him for just being like, oh, I'm here now. We're gonna keep playing. So I like that. I don't like how much he is moved by wide receiver Keenan Allen. It's quite a bit. I know it's a little bit of a blindside shot. I don't think he's expecting him to hit him at all. But that also comes with that weight. He's not very big in these clips because he wasn't very big last season. But yeah, I mean, the way he gets popped inside, like, is a great assist from Keenan Allen. And he almost makes a play on it. He gets his hands up, which I do like. His hands are active. He's ripping through. But I would maybe like to see him be able to take that shoulder a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to, another one where it's, how do I really come after this play? Because it wasn't a terrible play. He definitely got a little bit of a help there as well.
Well, you'll be able to start, shitting on our man in a little bit with your Dolphins tape. But no, I thought it was a solid game from him. I think he had like 3 tackles in that game. That 1 tackle for loss on that 1 rush play. Nothing crazy. The dude didn't get a lot of snaps last year. I think that was like his probably second most, maybe third most defensive snaps in a game. I think this Dolphins game that's about to come up was his most defensive snaps in a game. But yeah, it was just, run of the mill, kind of just he's doing what's expected of him, not making like crazy big mistakes, but also not making like crazy big impactful plays. So not much to like get excited about in terms of retrospectively looking at that tape. But there were some little things that we can nitpick and be like, he's got some things to work with. Like he really does. And it really was an unorthodox offseason for him last year. And especially for him because of that weight loss situation. I know we keep harping on it, but it's a real thing. Like I don't want to build in any excuses for this guy, but it was a weird offseason for him. And to see him play the way he did in that game and other games, more than just that San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers game, I thought it was hopeful. I really did.
Yeah. That you put in a lot of good clips from that game. So it was hard for me to kind of pick on him a lot. But I don't think he had a terrible game from what I saw from what you put in. But yeah, the Chargers offensive line was not very good. So I think that might have helped him a little bit. But yeah, I don't think he by any means played like a terrible game or anything. I just think that there are some things where with Epenesa, it's not like you said, there are very few times where you're going to be like, wow, he really screwed up on that play. But there's also not many times where you'd be like, wow, he just made a really good play. And I think that was kind of evident in that game where it's like, that was pretty good. But it's a lot of the time it's, can you go further than that than just saying that was pretty good,
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, like beforehand, like we did decide that I was going to be the positive and Clay was going to be the negative when it comes to Epenesa and this analysis. I really couldn't even find a whole lot of like glaringly negative plays from that Chargers game. It really was a lot of that just like middle of the road stuff. It was like, yeah, I could toss something in here and we could try and nitpick it and find some negatives, but he really didn't have a lot of really, really bad plays outside of the ones we talked about, like that running back draw play, things like that. Like that was honestly probably the worst play of his from that game. There weren't a lot of bad plays. There were plays when like, yeah, the run was going the opposite way and he was just getting like pushed back, but
right.
And it's not worth throwing in there. There's more analysis to be had. So he didn't have a lot of glaringly bad plays in that game. So it was tough for me to even give Clay a chance in that game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's maybe that was a good game plan. Maybe it was just the Chargers offensive line, but it's sometimes it's hard to knock him for things like that. For those of you who joined in a little bit late here, I know we got a lot more people than when we started. Kendall and I know he kind of explained a little bit. We decided to do kind of a for and against type of a thing this week. So when we were looking through the film and as we created these cut-ups and as we're showing them to you now, I'm the one that's against AJ Epenesa. So I'm trying to as best I can really pick at some of the things that he's not doing well or could be doing better. And Kendall's on the other side of that, and he's trying to make sure that he's really focusing on the positives and what he's doing well. So that way, we're trying to do it so you get a little bit more of both sides, since usually we both like the player and we like to look at good stuff and not focus on the bad stuff so much. So it was tough. It's tough sometimes to look for those bad plays, and that goes back to kind of that he plays a lot of middle ground plays.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's jump right into week 17 here, and that's the one that I went through. This was the Dolphins game. As we mentioned before, he had a lot of reps this game. This was his highest of the season, and that kind of goes with a lot of the guys got rest after the first couple of quarters here. And so he got a lot of playing time from it, which is good to see. And I'm not sure it's at times it's hard for me to be like, how much are they trying at this point? I don't think I included any plays from the fourth quarter because I was like, I think both guys were like, this game's over. Let's go home. Sorry if you hear the police in the background. But yeah, so I think it was just something where it was, I don't really know how to judge it. But anyway, let's get into it. This is play one for me. He's just getting a little bit tied up here. Was kind of my biggest thing about it. And it's funny because it might have been your first play where he actually does this play correctly, recognizes what the tight end's doing, and then he goes out and covers the tight end and forces that incompletion. And he doesn't do it here.
Right.
So I have no explanation as to why he did it in the last game, but he didn't do it here. It's things happen fast, I guess. But yeah, he needs to make a decision here. I don't care which decision he makes. If he's gonna fly forward and hit the running back, that's fine. If he wants to go and blow the tight end up right there or cover him, that's good too. If he wants to go for the quarterback, go for the quarterback. But it looks like he's kind of he's trying to cover 3 guys. He's spreading himself way too thin here. When I think he really should have just committed and take at least one guy out of the play. And he doesn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a really tough play for a rookie because to me, this is a play where it's like you don't want to make a mistake. He's really put in a bind. You said it, like he has 3 different decisions he could make. He could blow up the running back. He could blow up the tight end. He could blow up the quarterback. He could do any one of those 3 things on this play. It's just if he acts decisively on any one of them, the opportunity cost could be massive, and
right.
it could be catastrophic. And he doesn't want to be the one to blame, like that's kind of rookie syndrome. Like you don't want to be the one to make the mistake. But really, when I saw this play, I really wish he just went downhill and went at Tua.
Me too. Yeah.
I think that was the thing I really wanted him to do. I think the worst thing he could have done was go and take the running back. Obviously, that's hindsight bias a little bit, but if he blew up the tight end on this play, he messes up the play. Like if he just takes him out as if that's just a normal split zone block, he takes out the receiver that the play is built to be passed to. So he could have done that. If he just went pin his ears back, go straight for Tua, it'd be tough because he has that little chip from the tight end right there, but he's still disrupting the play. So positive spin, it's really tough for him to do much on this play because the play is meant to pick on him. Like he's the key for Tua right now. It's like, okay, you read this play off what this guy does in terms of his decision making. So positive spin, it's really tough to make a play here, especially when you're a rookie. But boy, he had 2 out of 3 of his decisions could have been the right decision. He just seemed a little too tentative to make it.
Yeah, and I know you said you wanted to see him hit Tua. I agreed, but actually what I think I wanted him to do more was just flatten the tight end right here.
Right, exactly.
And that's because, in trap plays, this is what it looks like initially is Epenesa is being trapped, and he's the trap guy. So when we've seen it in the past, we saw it with Rousseau and we saw it with Basham, where if they identify that guy coming across, they're going to shoulder that guy as hard as they can. And I think both of them did it fairly well at times. And that's what I would like to see him do here, actually. And if he does that, I mean, for one, you're kind of playing both the running back and the tight end in a situation like that because the give would have gone into that tight end. And 2, you're taking that tight end completely out of the play. So if Tua pulls it here and that tight end's on his ass, he's got to figure out something to do. And I don't think Tua can do that. So it was just something where it was a lot of indecision. And I know he's a rookie. But he made the play earlier in the season where he covered that up. It might look a little different. Maybe they weren't keying on it. I don't know, but he made the play earlier, and it's week 17 where he's gotten a lot of reps and gotten on the field. But I'll give you that it is tough because he is the person that they're keying on and trying to design the play around.
Right.
Play 2 here. This was another one where it just felt like he's not making a decision. I was a little upset with this one because sure, you want to make sure that no one gets outside you and contain the edge, but there's no one to contain here. I mean, even if it's a handoff, it's going straight up the gut. If it's a pass, Tua is going to stand right there. So the right decision right here is to go as fast as you can toward Tua. Because either way, you're going to force that running back to go inside into where there's a lot of traffic, or you can, go and hit the quarterback and make a play. I don't know, if this is probably an RPO, I'd imagine he liked what he saw because Epenesa was sitting. He says, yeah, if he's going to sit there, I can make that pass. And he does, and it's a first down. So, another just indecision thing where I just want to see him, run around like a man possessed sometimes and just go hit somebody, where in this game, I think he was a little bit timid.
Yeah, he definitely was. I think if you look at this play in a positive light, though, it's really interesting because you could twist this, pull the arm of this play and kind of be like, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he understands the fact that this offense, Tua offenses are predicated on RPOs and quick passing. So he could see that, there's a mesh point right there. I got to wait and see what's going to happen here. Tua could tuck it and run outside of me, so I'm going to wait. But he also knows that there's quick passing going on, and he gets in that passing lane, and he does try to disrupt it. That's really the best I can do when it comes to giving a positive to this play, because really it could have just been like, yeah, he understands the nature of this offense, and it's just good play recognition to understand, like, I'm not even going to make this like a sack on this play, so I'm going to just try to disrupt the passing lane. But I think you're right when you say he should have just came down screaming at Tua, because he probably would have disrupted that pass a lot more had he not sat back right there. If he went up into Tua's face, he probably would have mitigated that passing lane a little bit more, shortened that window. Yeah, I think you're right. When I first started watching this play, I was like, you know what, good play recognition. I think you got me. I think you got me on this play. Like, it's just tough. Like, I'd like to see him make a play on this. It's just it's tough because he's unblocked. Like, he's unblocked.
Exactly.
He could do something here.
He could have done so much more. Someone said he took a step in and was worried about the running back. Yeah, that could be the case. What I think is his main concern here is getting juked out by Tua.
Yeah.
I think he's afraid that if Tua pulls it, he wants to be set and ready to go to tackle Tua to make sure that he gets that tackle for loss. And it costs him. And I think even if he was aggressive here, I'd rather he be aggressive and miss that tackle, because it allows other guys to get there. It'll slow Tua down. It'll create havoc back there.
Bobby, was Dane supposed to be on the tight end? Maybe. Dane does look to be sucked up to the interior on this play.
Where is Dane here? I don't know what Dane's doing. I think he saw a run and went in. And sorry for those that don't know where he is. Dane's up here on this side, and then as soon as it snaps, he's going forward. So I'm not really sure.
And he's the first one to react to the ball being passed outside. Yeah. So it looks like it was his mistake in terms of picking up the tight end. Yeah. I don't think that was ever meant to be Epenesa's responsibility, but in terms of the outcome of the play, I think you're right, Bobby. It's interesting. There goes that decisiveness and that tenacity we like from Dane Jackson. Sometimes it can bite you in the ass.
This could be a communication issue too.
True.
Well, let me see. It's man coverage. So I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. But wait, where did that tight end come from there?
He was just in line. He was just in line right there.
The line of scrimmage. Okay, I don't think Dane knew who he was supposed to be covering. It's man coverage. It's pretty simple. You got it's a cover one, and Dane just forgot about his guy. I can't remember if I included this in the Dane Jackson film or not, about how he screwed that one up. I don't remember. Anyway, let's go.
It would be a good one.
Yeah, I know it would. Yeah, there's a Dane Jackson clip for you guys.
Sorry, Pierre.
Pierre, I love Dane Jackson too, Pierre. You know that. It was a rookie mistake, mental mistake. The kid had I don't even know, 20 snaps before this. That's an exaggeration. He probably had 50 snaps on the season before that. But anyway, play 3.
Hold on, Clay. Before you do this, I need to hear. There's no way you have anything negative to say about this play.
No, there's not.
Good.
No, I put this in because it was a good play, and I was like, I can't not include this play because it is a good play. So to preface this, it's a good play. But it's so. I mean, let's watch it again. Epenesa top of the screen here. This is exactly what you want from a defensive end, and this is something where it's like, yes, you're flying around and you're hitting somebody. Now, I would love for him to do it when that person's actually got the ball instead of being a little more hesitant. But I love the mentality. I love the mentality here for him to, he gets through. He's unblocked. He sees a guy and he's like, yeah, I'm going to hit him. And the fact that it's Tua, hit the quarterback as much as you can. Get in his head. Tua already runs around pretty scared. So if you give him a good pop there too, he sent him airborne. I had to put this one in because I was like, I really like that. I don't care about the rest of the play because he's not involved. But I thought that was a pretty good one that he was able to get in there and give him a little bit of a shot.
Yeah, no, we're good. We can go to play 4. I got nothing to add. Cool. Great play.
This is another kind of a little bit of a power rush here. It's kind of a speed to power. He gets a good start outside, gets that arm in there, and he tries to go inside. Ed's doing a good job here too in the one-on-one. They're both getting a decent amount. Look at the hands, very close to getting the ball. But this is another one where it's just this one specifically. I didn't like the way that he carried his momentum through the play. Because right about here, where he starts to break down and turn that speed into power, he slows himself down, I think, a little too much before making contact. I want to see him run through that tackle and take his momentum into that tackle with him. I think he kind of slows himself down a little bit here and gets in a little bit of a hand fight. Maybe if he kind of runs through and keeps that speed a little bit more, keeps that power, maybe he gets there a little faster. I still don't think he would have been able to do anything except get his hand on the ball as it's coming out because it was a pretty quick release here. One of the few plays where Tua is throwing quickly to his second read. This has just turned into a me shitting on Tua episode, but I don't think anyone's gonna have a problem with that. But what did you think about this one?
Well, first off, I'd like to say that was really good nuanced analysis in terms of his pass rush lane. I didn't think about that. I saw it. I liked the first step. I liked the push he got on first round tackle Austin Jackson. At least I think that's Austin Jackson. I really liked that he got as much push as he did because I've harped on this. Like, I don't want to see this guy lose his power move. Every time I see him use a power move, I love it because that's what he was in college. He was power and technician. Now it's like, okay, where is that balance? So if I can see balance from him, if I can see moves with good technical hand use, if I can see moves of him cornering around the edge, if I can see, moves of him like this, where he's just bull rushing a left tackle, I love what we got in terms of someone who can rush and pass rush in multiple ways. Really, I really liked the fact that he got his hands up at the end because obviously he wasn't going to make a play on the quarterback. But he does this, I think, multiple times in this game. Yeah. He understands, like, if I'm not going to get there, I'm going to try to impact the play the best I can, and it's just getting my hands up. So I like that he did that. But back to your initial point, I think to play devil's advocate, you're right. He takes away momentum when he, starts to cut it back inside and get to the quarterback. He could have taken a more direct pass rush lane. But if he does that, I think he's taking too much room away from Ed Oliver, and he kind of does have to loop it a little bit and then kind of go horizontally across a yard line at Tua. It's a little counterintuitive when it comes to speed to power in terms of like how you're actually going to bull rush. Right. But in terms of play design and helping out your teammates, I think that was the best pass rush lane for him. So that's really how I could spin that positively.
Yeah, and the carrying of his momentum is really the only thing that I have issue with. Someone said it was bad hand placement with the left hand. I don't think it's that bad, and then that's just because it's fairly effective. He pushes him back. But if he has a little more power, maybe you can put that guy on his butt and go make a sack because he's close. He was real close to getting him back there. It's a game of inches. And if you can get him tipped back one more inch, maybe he loses his balance and falls backwards. So, I'm nitpicking again, but I have to. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
We're going to have to do it.
Yeah. Play 5. This one is sorry, I forgot this play. It's pretty funny. Edges at the top of the screen. He just gets upended by I think that's Smythe or something like that. But yeah, this is a play where again, it's kind of something that we saw Rousseau and Bashan do pretty well in identifying that trap blocker, and he does not do that there, and he gets tabletopped pretty much. Oh, it's a pretty good block. That's a legal block. That block is still legal this year, by the way. You
right, it's in the tackle box.
The tight end box is even where you got to keep it inside, so it's a little bit bigger. But yeah, that's still legal. So he's gonna have to be ready for that. And I don't know physically how much he would have been able to do to avoid it, but he didn't identify it until right here, and by that time he's upside down. So yeah, I'd like a little bit faster recognition out of this one.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do to spin this positively. This was a bad play from him. He has to be able to identify that block. He has to be able to identify it. We saw it on the first play that we showed you from the Chargers game. We saw it in the first play that we showed you in this game. He identifies that this tight end is coming from the other side of the formation onto his side of the formation. Here he just has tunnel vision on the mesh point. He never sees it coming, and by the time he sees it coming, it's over. Like there's nothing he can do. So right. Yeah, like you call it a trap block, which it is in essence. I call it a split zone block because it's coming from the other side of the field, but they're both the same thing. Yeah. But you're right. Like it is, it's the same theory. A split zone is an element of what trap is. It's just more specific to what the play design is because he's coming over from the other side. But like you still have to be able to identify it. I think it's honestly probably easier for him to identify a split zone block than a center coming over to trap him, because that's kind of someone just peeling off from the offensive line. Yeah, it's a little easier to identify someone that's like detached from the offensive line, like a tight end is.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's harder to identify for sure, but. And maybe this kind of goes along with that earlier identification. This is a very similar everything that's going on, all these guys moving around. I mean, as far as what I think the handoff, the mesh is on the other side, but it's a similar type of a play where he's got a lot of action coming right at him. And so maybe he thinks there's another play where it's like, oh, I can stop and I can cover this guy I can get this guy in coverage this time. I'm going to cover him up and he's going to have to throw it in the dirt this time. Maybe that's what he was thinking. And he turns around and he's like, oh, this guy's blocking me. Okay. Right. That makes a lot more sense.
That could be it too. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's regardless, got to be able to identify that a little bit faster and see if you can make something out of it. I don't know why the circle ended up over there, but I'll point him out for you myself. He's at the top of the screen. He only rushes from the right side of the defense. So yeah, he's not in the middle of the field there. What did I even have? What are we on? Play 6 here? Yeah. This was another one where I didn't have anything bad to say. I thought this was a good rep. Good hands initially. It's first of all, the ball gets out very quickly. It's a little play action, and the ball is out on a slant route. But what Epenesa is doing is pretty good stuff. I mean, he very good active hands to get around. The running back's there. Good job by the running back, but he shoulders the running back too, pushes him back into the quarterback, makes it a little tough to get that throw off. This is a play where I was like, yeah, great play. What I liked about this is he doesn't rush to the inside very much. It's not really something he does frequently. So to be able to see him do that and do it effectively was pretty encouraging. I like that first hand. I want to see if I can slow it down enough where we can get a peek at what his first hand is doing to kind of pin that inside arm of the tackle there. Really good hand placement, and then he's ready to rip through if he needs to as well. This is one of the plays where I was like, I can't not put this play in because it's a good play.
Yeah, I really like this play from a technical hand use standpoint. You see him off the line of scrimmage, immediately go to that inside move, and he hits the club and rip perfectly. He hits that inside shoulder, like you said, pins that arm in, and then right as the offensive lineman tries to get that arm back up, you see AJ rip right through it, raise it up, and he's right back in there, and he's in the pass rush lane. He's keen on the quarterback right there. But yeah, you see the running back pick him up and pass pro, and then you see the ball get out quickly. There's not much he's going to do from a production and a statistical output standpoint on this play. But boy, is this a great rep when it comes to technical hand usage and just how he's attacking offensive linemen. Like this is why you draft the guy.
Yeah, and getting the ball out quick. Maybe if this was a play where it takes a little bit longer to develop instead of just an RPO slant, maybe they get to it. But that's kind of the way that the Dolphins offense is designed, is we're going to get the ball out really quick, and that's what they do. So could have been something maybe. Also, I don't know. It's it's a pretty good job defensively all around, really. Except I do think there was a penalty on this. Whatever.
Oh, the circle's off again. Clay, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know, man. My editing skills are off today, apparently. This one I put in because it was I'm hoping this has everything to do with his weight because he's getting bullied by a tight end. I don't know if he was maybe not expecting that tight end to stay in. You can kind of see maybe his first step is a little bit more inside, and then he's like, "Oh, this tight end's staying. I got to go against him." The tackle doesn't even have to do anything. He's just going to sit around and wait for somebody to come. He's all by himself. Milano, you want to come at me? Let me do it. But yeah, I mean, he's getting bullied by a tight end here, and that's pretty much all you can say about it.
Yeah, not much positive about this play. Initially, when I saw this play, I was just like, it seems like he's just trying to avoid the double team by just taking the tight end on and trying to go around the outside shoulder of the tight end. And then he just gets bullied by him. I'm not sure who that is, actually. It's either like Smythe or Shaheen or something.
I think 80 is Smythe. I can't remember.
I don't know who it is. Regardless, he should never be getting beat in a one-on-one by a tight end. It just shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. So yeah.
Not much positive on that play.
No, it's hard to, I don't know if he just like panicked or what, but his hands aren't doing much. He's just getting pushed around. I don't want to see that again. Another bad circle. AJ's in the same spot. He's going to be in the same spot the whole game. This was, what are we on here? Play 8. This is a decent speed rush, and our speed to power, kind of a similar thing where I was criticizing him before. I think this one he does better. I don't think he slows down quite as much. I think he gets that hand on earlier, and he tries to drive through a lot better. So this is kind of a counterpoint to what we saw earlier. I do think this was a much better rep. He gets his hand up in the lane and everything. It's very similar. He ends up in a very similar spot. Another thing, if he has a little more power, maybe you get him on his heels a little bit more and he can't anchor right before the quarterback because that he does kind of get a good position. Yeah. I mean, AJ's up in the air trying to bat the ball down.
But it's great leverage, great athletic position by that left tackle. He looks ready to take that on.
Yeah, definitely. So, I want a little more power still. If you're gonna try to do that speed to power, I want a little more power out of it. And hopefully we can get that out of him this year.
Yeah, no, I like this play just because it shows potential. Really, if this guy continues to improve, you can see these kind of pass rushes in this game where he's like, oh, he's so close. If he keeps improving, like it's not, oh, he's so close. It's like, oh, look, he made the play. So if he can keep building on these kind of pass rush moves on just who he is as a player as a whole, like if he can keep building incrementally, this dude's going to be legit. And I mean, I like this play just because it shows again that pass rush and then his smarts and his ability to get that hand up last second. Like he understands like quick pass, like I'm not going to get there fast enough. So, okay, I'll get my hand up. And it looks like he's pretty close to getting it again, but just a bit too far off. He's just a tad off and he's close to making the play, but just not quite there. So that's the big thing we're all going to be keying on this year. If this dude really, like, we know he put in the work based on what everything the coaches are saying, what all of his teammates are saying. Let's see if it can translate to the field next year, because if he was this close last year when it came to down to the wire last year, if he can improve on these plays, he's going to start getting really productive for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was another one where it's like, he even watching it through in slow motion, he gets one like full step from that tackle there before he's able to anchor. He just needs a little bit more. That's all he needs. It's just a smidge more and he's right there. But yeah, that's really the only criticism I have there is just a little bit more power. And I think he'll be able to get there.
All right, Clay, I dare you talk shit on this play.
I can't. It's a really good play. This is another one where it's I don't think I saw him do this at all the entire game. And then he just decides to pull this one out of the bag. It's a pretty good move. I mean, he's outside, he's coming around and he does a nice little spin move. The one thing I guess I was wrong. I am going to criticize this one a little bit. The one thing is, I think the spin move itself could probably use a little bit of work. He kind of spins in place. I want to see him spin inside a little bit more, get more into that open space. Whereas right here, he's in place enough where he can still, he's that tackle still is getting hands on him before he's able to get to the quarterback. I want to see him get a little more inside, whereas he just kind of like does a little bit of a pirouette here. But I like the thought. I like the thought of him trying to do something different, trying to, use his athleticism a little bit to go inside. And once again, it is thrown very early, very inaccurately. He's, he doesn't really have much of a chance, but I like this one.
So I'll ask you if you could pause it on when his left foot touches the ground on the spin move. I think it's really this play, like great first step, sets him up beautifully going to the outside as if he's rushing on the outside shoulder. And then he sets up this spin move perfectly. But like you said, right off that left foot, like if he's going to plant that left foot on the spin, like you have to plant and come back towards the end zone a little bit. Like you can't just go flat with it. You have to actually come and attack that inside shoulder from the tackle. He obviously wins the inside shoulder, but it's more just because of a lack of skill on that left tackle's part and just kind of getting put in the spin cycle. Like it could have been a much more efficient pass rush move, but boy, is it nice to see this guy can pull out a spin, because I hadn't seen a spin until this play. Had you? Because I haven't seen him pull out a spin move yet. And then I saw this and I was like, okay, he can do this. Cool.
Yeah, I was excited to at least see him try it. I don't know. It's we're getting later in the game now. I think we're third quarter at this point. Maybe he's like, screw it. I mean, we're blowing these guys out. Maybe I'll try a spin move here.
That's a good point.
Maybe I'll try this one out, see if it works. So hopefully, they got a good chuckle out of it about how he just kind of spun in place there. I do like the idea, and then maybe let's get a little more efficient with it, because I really think the tackle could have, if he identified it a little bit faster, could have been able to just turn and keep right on blocking and not really had that much of an issue with it.
Right.
All right, coming down the wire here. This is another. This one actually, it goes back to the thing we've mentioned where he's trying to cover three guys, and he's just hesitant. And this is almost like this one reminded me the most of the Basham film that we went over, and looking and be like, I don't know which guy he's supposed to cover. And it doesn't look like he does either. He goes for the running back. I feel like that's always kind of his first instinct, is to go toward the running back no matter what, because the first step right here, that's where he's going before he realizes that that two is going to the outside. He good effort trying to recover and everything like that. But this is a 4th and 1, and they convert on it because he wasn't able to recognize that and that little bit of a hesitation inside. If it weren't for that little hesitation, I think he makes the play here and gets
he's
stop.
Got it.
Which is very frustrating, because it's such a small thing that he did, and it's the difference between a turnover on downs and a first down. So that was kind of my biggest thing on this one.
All right, so I'm going to play the positive card here, and I'm going to toss him an excuse. I think he couldn't see what the hell was happening. I really don't think he could have. He saw the mesh point. If you pause it like right at that mesh point, you can see the tight end and the running back are covering what's happening at that mesh point. Like you can't see what's happening. And of course, you're right. Like he did pick the running back, but it was probably because of indecisiveness, like you said. Like he has 3 different decisions to make, and he just picks one. He picks the wrong one. Mm-hmm. But I really don't think he could see what was happening on the mesh point. And then to keep it positive, look at the hustle on this play. He's still you see him get sucked into the interior there, but he still recovers and he makes a play over there. Yeah, he didn't stop it short of the first down, but he makes the play over there. You see, who is that? The safety coming over, probably Marlowe. He had himself a game
he did
that game. So you see Marlowe coming down, and Tua's like, oh, I don't want to get hit by that guy. And Epenesa and Marlowe close that running lane a little bit, and it forces Tua to just take what he can get with that first down. So I like the hustle on that play, and I'm not going to toss too many negatives in on that play, because it's tough when he's put in a bind, when he's the key.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'm watching AJ Klein. He made a pretty smart play here, where he's also doing a little bit of hesitate. As soon as he sees that tight end go, he's like, yeah, that's mine. And he takes that's the intended receiver there. That's the play. He's trying to go right to him. So good for AJ Klein on this one. But if we had both AJs on the right page, it would have been a turnover on downs.
I think that was the same play as play one because they started in the pistol set on this one.
I think it's actually the same exact.
Because the one earlier you were like, oh, it looks like a similar play, but I think the formation was a little bit different, and there was like a end around fake coming from the right side of our screen on that earlier play. But this might be the exact same play as play one as it is here on play 10.
Yeah, and this is another one where my preferred choice of his is to blow up the tight end. That's another one where you're taking away that guy. Klein would not have had to cover him.
Klein can go take Tua.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. In a situation like that, I don't know if they talked about this or this was part of the scheme, if they'd even thought about this beforehand. Or during the game. I mean, maybe make an in-game adjustment about it. But I want him to hit the tight end there. I want to just take him out. Yeah. Just take him out of the play completely, and that's one less guy. And he goes for the running back. I think that in this situation, the running back is the guy I'd least like him to go for because you've got a bunch of teammates where that running back's going, whereas the perimeter is much more open, and that's where two of the other guys are going. So I'm getting nitpicky. Bad circle. We know where AJ is though. This is another one where it's a pretty good speed rush. I thought I put this play in mostly because I thought it was kind of funny because the entire defense over pursues the entire defense. First of all, Tyler Medikavich is an actual bull on this play, but he just drives this running back past to completely. But anyway, let's focus back on Epenesa here. I don't mind this. It's another kind of speed to power a little bit. I think the hand placement's fine. In that shoulder gets a good initial push, but then once again everybody over pursues. If Medikavich stays on the right path here and pushes to a backward, that's going to be trouble because you got 94 there as well. I can't remember who it was at this point in the season. Did it change at all? I don't know. Maybe Legit.
No, it's Butler.
Right. It's Butler. I thought this was just kind of a funny play because it could have been really good, but and Medikavich makes me laugh on this play because he's just driving the dude into the end zone. Yeah. But yeah, this is I don't really have much of a problem with what Epenesa did here. I actually think this was a decent rep. He gets his hand out too, which I like.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that. I really like this play. It was a good jump off the snap, decent rush around the edge. You see him keep his chest plate clean. He gets those hands off of him. Yeah, you could argue hand placement, but I like the hand usage in general because it keeps that chest plate clean and his target zone clean, and it allows him to continue driving into the quarterback. You see him get that hand up. Obviously, it doesn't do anything in terms of ball production or anything like that. But honestly, I think outcome of this play is it hinges on Medikavich. It really does. I love what he did, but in terms of outcome of the play, like
maybe a little more controlled there.
Yeah, he took himself out of the play. Like you can see this part like the Red Seas right here. Like it's wide open for Tua to run.
Yeah, so, I think even Tua right here is like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah,
and he's like, I guess I'm just gonna run.
Yeah,
because it's all five people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
everyone behind
jerseys behind Tua, and then you got AJ Klein against an offensive lineman. He's going to lose that battle. But yeah, this was just a kind of an unfortunate circumstance where it could have been a really nice play.
Right.
All right, here we go. Play 12. This is another one where I didn't really have that many bad things to say about it. It's a pretty smart play. Honestly, this is one of the ones where I couldn't not put it in. First, the hand placement's good with the left hand. He sees that the running back's out there for help, so he says, "That's fine. I'm going to swim inside." And he actually does a really good job. I think this is probably the best swim move he's maybe done in the NFL. Super clean, initial hit, swim around. I thought this is a good rep.
Yeah, no, this is like something you put on a YouTube video to like coach younger kids. Like this is perfect. You see that left hand placed right on the right shoulder of Austin Jackson, and right as that running back comes in where it's like he's about to chip you on the outside, AJ's like, no. Okay, if you're going to counter me going on the outside, all right, I'm going to push down with my left arm, drop Austin Jackson's right arm, and I'm going to swim right over his head and go inside of both you guys. And he does it with ease. Like this, it is a perfect to a T swim move. Like we saw Boogie do a lot of swim moves. He did a lot of them like untouched, where he was just kind of like setting them up with like the stem of his rushing route almost.
Right.
This was like AJ was tied up, like he was in the block. Like he was engaged with the blocker, and he just cleanly swims out of it. So I love this from a technical standpoint in hand usage.
Yeah. And that's I had to put it in because it was just such a clean rep. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know if he's planning to do the swim move the whole time, or if he's recognizing there that he's going to get that extra guy on the outside. So
I hope it's the latter. That means a lot for like his development and everything.
Right. And being able to recognize it that fast is something special. This is another one where it's he's trying to play both guys again here. Tua just keeps the, I mean, it's not a big gain or anything. But it's just another play where he's freezing. And I think in a situation like this, I wanted to take the quarterback, because once again, where the running back is going is there's going to be traffic. I mean, maybe if he takes the quarterback here, then that opens up a little bit of a cutback lane.
Yeah, I see it.
So, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I think he's, for the most part, put in a bad position. But once again, he takes that extra step favoring the running back. And I would rather not have him do that. I think I'd rather have him, instead of kind of shuffling, like he's shuffling in the whole time, very slowly kind of shuffling inward. Whereas I'd rather just have him plant. If you're going to make him decide, and don't give him anything out of it. So I think if he just kind of sits right around the line of scrimmage and plants a little bit better, I think it's going to be harder for Tua to be able to get out to the outside there and pick up some yards, even though it's not a huge gain. I think it's like a 3-yard gain, but
yeah. I think the key to this play is positioning. You said it. It's like he laterally slides with the mesh point, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's what you're taught to do. It's just how far he slid with it. If he just stopped like one slide shorter than he did, it would have been fine, because if he just stops right off the snap, there is a cutback lane inside of him, and the only person left is whoever that top safety is on that 10-yard line. Right. That's the only person in between the running back and the end zone. So I understand, like, he's playing two people here, and he is going to have to close in on that running back, but he does make an easy decision for Tua here. I think he does need to firmly plant himself in between those two guys and make it tough for Tua to make that decision. Because honestly, if you make that mesh point tough for the quarterback, that creates fumbles. Not a lot, but it does. Like, that mesh point is harder than we all think it is. Like, it really is a lot harder than it seems to be, because we see it happen so much, and it obviously there's so much success with the read option. But if that defensive end is like getting in the quarterback's head, like, there's like, oh, do I tuck it? Do I keep it? Do I give it to him? Do I tuck it? And it's, that kind of indecision from the quarterback makes a fumble. Indecision from the defensive end turns into like a 5-yard gain. So, you want to force the indecisiveness into the quarterback's hands. And I don't think he did that on this play. It comes down to positioning.
Yeah, and it's pretty nitpicky, because he is playing both of these guys.
Right.
So it's hard to be like, hey man, but I do think he still could have done a better job with this one, and I think you're right. It does really all go with that last step, because if he doesn't take that step, he's almost even. But now he's got to turn and plant and changes the direction of his momentum completely to try to go with Tua. So I think instead of having him shuffle as much, I want to see him at some point be able to stop himself and be ready to go in either direction, because he's just not ready. He's just not ready to go out and get that, really.
Right.
Yeah, but that's it for me. I mean, yeah. What were your impressions when you were going through and looking at mine? Because I know I tried to make it as hard for you as I can, and of course, I included some good plays as well. But
I still thought he had good plays. Like, I was shocked, for one, because I thought I was going to be a lot more upset with his play going back at this tape. Because I know watching him last year on broadcast, I was not thrilled. I was really not thrilled when we picked him last year in the second round. I was pretty happy about it. Obviously, I think I talked about this with Judge. Like, I wanted J.K. Dobbins at that spot.
That would have been nice.
Right? But, like, retrospectively, knowing what we got and the potential we have with the pairing of Zach Moss and AJ Epenesa, after watching the tape on Epenesa, I have no problem with the pick anymore. Like, yeah, I'm still going to stay home to my thought that I rather would have had Dobbins at that draft slot. But after watching the tape, it's like, I like this dude. I like what he has in terms of potential, his growth, his upside. And yeah, just going back to the way the organization is praising him right now, seeing the potential he has on tape, and then hearing the way that his coaches and his teammates are talking about him and his work ethic this offseason, I think he's going to drastically improve this year. Not saying it's going to be like a 10-sack season, but with a steady rotation that McDermott likes to use on that defensive line, I don't think 5, 6, 7 sacks is out of the realm of possibility at all. And I think 5 should probably be around what's expected for him in year 2.
Yeah, I think 5's probably a good number for him to shoot for. Obviously, everyone wants him to get more than that. But there's definitely still some things that he needs to work on. I really do think physically, he went through a massive transition because he was a big dude in college, and then he gets to the NFL and he sheds a ton of weight and he's playing super light. And I think it took him a good amount of time to be able to figure out how to play with the weight that he was at because he's used to playing big. So I think we kind of saw a little bit of result of that, of him not really knowing how to play at his weight. And kind of my biggest takeaway from watching the film was I could have made a really long cut up, just like even if it was just like a super cut, just like of an end zone view of this play. There are a lot of plays of his where when I was looking at it, I'm like, sure, that's okay. It's not anything great. It's not anything terrible. It's like, could he have done better? Probably. Could he have done worse? Definitely. So it's like, I don't hate this play, but I would have liked it if he would be able to do something better. And that's how I think the majority of his plays look like. At least that's what they did in the Dolphins game. And he had a lot of reps. So, I think that's kind of the thing is we want him to be better than that. We don't want him to just go out there and be like, yeah, he did okay. Is decent. He tried his best. We want him to be able to go out and we want him to make those plays where those wild plays, kind of the spin move. When I saw the spin move and the swim move specifically, I was like, wow, that was nice. That was if we see more things like that, I definitely think he can get better. And, back to what you said, everyone's praising him in these interviews and in the locker room right now. The coaching staff, the other players, everybody's saying how much muscle he's put on, how much stronger he's gotten. Dawkins mentioned that he doesn't feel like a feather anymore. He can't just throw him around anymore. And Frazier, I think you said Frazier said something about it as well, right?
Yeah, no, Frazier's really echoed all of those sentiments, just like saying how great he is. But I think you talked about it a little bit, just saying like how he doesn't really wow us a lot on tape, but he also doesn't upset us so much. And I think that's why I liked the Rousseau pick so much, because he was someone that's a little more polarizing, someone that could be that really low floor, but really, really high ceiling. Mm-hmm. I think Epenesa was just such a safe pick last year. Yeah. It was kind of nice to get that guy this year to pair with him and, be that guy with really, really high upside. And we have someone with a high floor behind him, should that not work out. Before we get to Paulie Cruz super chat, I want to address Lone Wolf saying if he only gets 5 sacks, I don't know if that's a good year for him. I think I agree with you in terms of just saying like 5 sacks isn't a good year. But considering Mario Addison got 5 sacks last year in a defense that loves to rotate their defensive line, like Mario Addison had a good year. He didn't have a good year relative to what he was being paid. So like that's where this is completely different. Like if you're talking about 5 sacks on the year for Epenesa and he's only getting like 50% of the snaps on defense, like can you really be that upset with only 50% of your opportunities? Like that's why it becomes really difficult to just kind of pin someone's successes and failures on production, because a lot of production is tied to their opportunity. And when it comes to the Buffalo Bills defensive line, opportunity waivers from player to player, from game to game. So it's tough to evaluate in terms of stat sheet.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll chip in on that real quick. They just drafted 2 defensive ends. It's gonna be a big rotation. There's gonna be a lot of guys that are getting reps. And when you get in there, you're gonna have to make the most of what you're doing if you want to stay on the field. So I don't think 5 sacks is unreasonable. I don't think if I see 5 sacks out of Epenesa, if we see 5 sacks out of Basham, I'd be very happy with that. I'd be surprised, honestly, if we got 5 sacks out of Rousseau. I think he's the one that has the ability to surprise me the most, because I don't expect much from him, to be honest, in year 1 here. But I think 5 sacks is reasonable just because of that. Just because of the guys that they just brought in, and there's going to be an even more intense and competitive rotation for those guys.
Right. So we'll jump into Pauly Cruz super chat. Thank you, Pauly Cruz. You've been with us for, I think, every single one of these film sessions we've done. Thank you. Appreciate it. Clay, which of the plays where he fell short, Epenesa, do you think his playing weight could make a difference? Saying, like, now that he's gained some weight and some muscle, where do you think, that could improve and he wouldn't have those plays where he's, disappointing?
Right. I mean, the one where he gets pushed around by a tight end, I don't think he could have done anything on that play. To be honest, it was a pretty quick pass from what I recall. But that's something where it's, I would like to see him not get pushed around by a tight end. That would be pretty nice. And then it's, other than that, it's those speed to power. Because I think he's really close. I think he's really close on a lot of those. And we even saw he was giving the tackles a little bit of a run for their money at times, pushing them back all the way, like up to the quarterback before they were able to anchor. So if he can just get that little bit of extra power and, a little bit of extra strength, where he's able to push them back just a half step even, I think that's going to be pretty big for him. And I'm hoping he can do that with the amount of strength that he's worked on this offseason.
Yeah, I'll echo that by saying, like, absolutely those plays where it seems like he's just a hair off from making a play on the quarterback, on bull rushes, things like that. Like, we might see him have a little bit more ease on the bull rush if he has more muscle on him and he's just a more fluid athlete, whatever it may be. I think that's where it translates. And like you said, the one-on-ones against tight ends, yeah, he probably wouldn't have made that play in the specific one against the Dolphins, but it would have been nice to see him actually win the one-on-one against the tight end, or the time that he got pushed over by Keenan Allen and he ended up taking that rush inside. Maybe he would have ate that a little bit. And
I mean, it ended up working out.
It worked out
worse if he might have been able to absorb the hit. But
right, that's funny. Well, Elliot comes in. Thank you, Elliot. Smash that like button, guys. If you liked what we were talking about with AJ, if you like AJ Epenesa, if you like the Buffalo Bills defensive line, if you liked how we were breaking it down, hey, if you liked how we were playing devil's advocate, what did you say it as? Defendant versus plaintiff?
Yeah. It's kind of it's like a court case here. Maybe we should get judge in here.
If you guys liked it, smash that like for us. It really does help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let us know how we're doing on that, and let us know who you want to see next. We put out a poll every week on the Buffalo Fanatics Twitter at BFLO Fanatics. That's BFLO Fanatics. So follow us there on Twitter if you want to be a part of the deciding process to see who we get to watch next week and who we get to break down then. Yeah,
I'm excited. Now we gotta take AJ off the list. Now we gotta replace him. I don't know who it's gonna be, but
I don't know who it's gonna be. A lot of people are calling for Levi. I think Levi might be someone that could be a surprise.
Yeah, there were people tossing in Levi, specifically in the comments for that tweet. They were like, "We want Levi," and it's like, we've put Levi in this poll for like 3 straight weeks, and he just can't get the votes.
Yeah.
Personally, he's my favorite. I want to break down Levi. Like, he's the person I want to break down next, but I'm not going to do it unless everyone else wants to do it. So, guys, vote for Levi because I want to do it.
Yeah, I agree as well. But beyond that, we're kind of leaving it up to you to decide what you think about AJ Epenesa. Given that it's a new season too, he gets an off season to work with the trainers and everything like that. So it could be a very different season for him. We just wanted to present what we have and what we saw from him last year. So I hope you like that format. And I don't know, you got anything else to close out with?
No, man, I just hope you guys liked it. Just keep giving us input. Keep letting us know if there's something we could do better. We just want to give you guys the analysis that you're fiending for. We want to do right by you because I know I have fun doing this, Clay. I know you have fun doing this, but at the end of the day, like as much as this is an outlet for us to just talk football and analyze film, we know that you guys like to consume it. So we'd like to do it in a way that's beneficial to you guys. So please give us input however you can. Lone Wolf, I see you say I don't tweet. So how about putting it up on the website as well?
I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, we can
we
look
might be able to link it. We would probably link the Twitter poll.
Yeah.
You probably have to sign in to vote
then you
for
have
it, though.
Right. So we'll try to figure out something so it's a little more inclusive. Maybe Facebook, something like that.
I think we can
don't
do
know.
YouTube polls, so we might have to do 2 polls and
We could
add
put
them up.
one in the comment section underneath this, something like that. Hey, honestly, if you don't have a Twitter and if you want to put your claim to whoever you want us to analyze next, just put it in the comment section. Like put the player you want us to break down next in the comment section for this video, and we'll look back to it and toss that in and like really bake that into the vote.
Yeah, but beyond that, I don't have anything else to say. So I guess just go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills.
And we'll see you next week.